The movie begins with a man dragging a creepy-looking scarecrow in a cornfield. After he finds a suitable place, he digs and implants the scarecrow. A close-up of the rugged structure reveals a human underneath. Of course, this particular scarecrow defeats its purpose, and the crows gnaw on the person who desperately tries to scream, but it all comes out muffled. The scene then shifts to a group of teenagers in a car who stop at a gas station. They are heading to a lagoon to enjoy a skinny dip. We're introduced to Farbsy, the jock who knows how to enjoy any situation. Behind the wheel is Eli, a nerd who is madly in love with Ash, their companion who shares a similar reserved nature. And then there is Devin, Farbsy's girlfriend, who is pissed off at the guys because their single shared brain cell agreed on taking a convertible that doesn't convert, with no AC, on a road trip in the scorching sun. The guys wait while the girls relieve themselves behind the bushes, when suddenly something drops from the sky onto their windshield. The boys look intently and find that it is a thumb. Eli is scared and starts panicking, while Farbsy tries to calm him down. When things don't seem to work, Farbsy gets a great idea and uses the wipers to get the thumb off the windshield, and it only spreads the blood all over it, making them sick. Eli decides to stall the girls till Farbsy gets rid of it, and once they're done, they decide to cover the rest of the journey on foot, as the lagoon is situated nearby. They take Miller's Trail and soon reach a cornfield where they see a scarecrow with a crow perched on it. They find it weird. Aren't scarecrows supposed to scare off the birds, they ask, as they stand in an area far beyond the no trespassing sign they crossed. A few steps ahead, they see another crow that is feeding on something. Ash's love for birds make her step forward, hoping to interact with a crow, but she suddenly steps back, shocked to see the crow feeding on a human finger. The boys quickly brush away their speculation and shift their focus on the fun time they are going to have. Just as they leave, a person covered in gunny sacks can be seen running in the middle of the cornfield, yelling for help. He takes the sack off of his face, revealing a bloody mess. He runs in random directions as the field is like a maze, and soon he hears a chilling whistle of the man from the first scene, presumably the farmer. The man tries to run away, but the farmer pulls him by the rope tied around his neck, immobilizing him, and kills him using a scythe. His blood-curdling screams are the last anyone heard of him. In the meantime, the group of friends have covered a considerable distance, which is why they don't hear the poor man's cries for help. They've been walking for a while but still can't find the lagoon. The girls are starting to lose their patience, so the guys suggest they go ahead while the girls wait and rest for a while. The guys walk a little further and find the blue water they had been searching for all this while. They call the girls, and Farbsy is the first to yank his clothes off and jump into the lake. The girls and Eli join him soon, and the four play in the water a little bit before they play with themselves. Eli and Ash are out first, and Eli presents her with a promise ring and confesses his feelings, while Farbsy is being finished off by Devin. It is now time to go back, and the girls refuse to walk back to the car. Devin asks Eli and Farbsy to find a way to bring the car there while they wait by the lake. Farbsy and Eli somehow make it back to where the car was, but find their car gone, and Farbsy starts blaming Eli for getting the car stolen. They get into a yelling match, but as that isn't productive, they start fighting instead. Meanwhile, the girls are lying on the side of the lake when they hear a noise from the bushes. Devin warns whoever is hidden to back off, but when the noise doesn't stop, the girls pick up their belongings and run. They soon find Eli and Farbsy in a scuffle. Things get tense when the boys tell the girls their car is gone, and everybody starts complaining about each other, taking out their frustration. Eli yells for everybody to stop and tries to placate the situation by staying positive. As they are discussing what they should do, Ash spots the farmer from earlier and calls out to him. Everybody else follows, but finds the farmer gone by the time they reach the fenced area. Devin is the first to pass through the fence, and the others follow except for Farbsy, as he still hasn't recovered from the trauma he faced in 6th grade when he ruptured one of his crotch dumplings while climbing a fence. Unwilling to be teased for it, only one Kenobi over here decides to face his fears, but as he's crossing the fence, he slips and gets his thigh entangled in the sharp fence. He cries in pain, and Eli gets a great idea and yanks the barbs out of his leg, taking out chunks of flesh in the process. Ash tries to look in Farbsy's backpack for something to tie his wound with, but Farbsy stops her and says there is nothing of use in the bag. Left with no choice, Eli removes his shirt, ties it to Farbsy's wounds, and helps him up. They slowly make their way in search of the farmer, hoping he will help them. They reach the Scarecrow, and Farbsy is unable to walk any further. Eli helps him sit at the base of the Scarecrow and says he'll find the barn and come back to get them. Annoyed at how things have turned, Devon offers to tag along with Eli and smirks at Ash, who is left to look after Farbsy till they return. Eli and Devon find the barn, but Devon stops Eli from calling for help. Instead, she gets a great idea to seduce Eli, and she starts kissing him. Initially, Eli is reluctant, but when she warms up his hot dog, he gives in and lets her do her thing. While in the middle of the cornfield, Farbsy and Ash await their return, unaware of what treachery is going on behind their backs. As they're talking, Farbsy lets Ash in on a secret he is hiding in his backpack and takes out 2 large bags of green that he claims to be of top-notch quality. They laugh as Farbsy describes the potency of the grass and asks Ash to roll him one to help with the pain. It's getting dark and Devon is still going on with her jaw workout when Eli asks her to stop as he hears a whistle from behind. As he turns his head to check it out, it turns further than he wanted to after getting punched by the stealthy farmer. The farmer then turns to Devon, who tries to run, but he trips her using his scythe, and she falls head first, rendering her unconscious. The farmer then drags Devon into the barn and makes her sit on the torture chair, which still has remnants of his previous victims in the form of blood splatters here and there. He ties her arms, legs, and her head with a belt around her throat. By that time, Devon gains consciousness and she pleads with the farmer to let her go and soon starts crying for help. The farmer has a great idea. He brings out a needle and a thread and sews her lips shut to make her stop screaming. He then knocks her out with a punch to her face, which he could have just done instead and gotten the same result. The farmer soon brings an unconscious Eli and ties him to a rocking chair. He then brings a syringe and is ready to inject Eli with something, but Devon screams and, in the process, rips the stitches on her lips. She cries to let them go, which makes the farmer change his mind, and he injects Devon instead. Devon suffers a temporary drug-induced paralysis, and the farmer covers her face with one of the bizarre-looking gunny sack masks he has in his collection. His previous victim is lying unconscious nearby, and after he has dealt with Devon, he carries the boy away from that room. Outside in the field, Ash and Farbsy are still waiting for their friends when Farbsy has the urge to go to the bathroom. Ash reluctantly helps him, takes him to a denser vegetation area, leaves him there to fertilize the crops, and walks back to the Scarecrow. She is intrigued by the spooky look the Scarecrow has and tries to look inside to see what it is made of when the Scarecrow's head falls and several maggots fall on her, making her scream. She suddenly hears a whistle and starts calling out to her friends, thinking it is one of them, but someone from behind the bushes grabs her and pulls her inside. She screams, but the man calms her down and reveals he has been observing her group all day. He warns her that she can't escape until she comes with him. Ash asks him to take her friend along and tells the man that he is hurt, but the man says her friend has to find his own way. Creeped out by what is happening, she decides to tag along with the man, and he takes her to the barn, where she sees their car. She grows suspicious of the man, but he convinces her that she has no choice but to seek his help. He brings her to the same chamber with a torture chair, which is empty and stained with fresh blood. The man says people shouldn't trespass, and after Ash assures him that he can trust her, he reveals that the scarecrows are alive and victims of the killer farmer, turning them into scarecrows as a punishment for trespassing. He shows Ash a body, presumably of a woman, hung on the roof and says that trespassers took the killer's only partner, and now he is seeking vengeance. Suddenly, someone rattles the door, and Ash hides while the man stays when the farmer walks in. The man calls him Dad, and upon his signal, the son drags in unconscious Farbsy. The farmer then removes the sack off Eli, whose lips are sewn together, and he is turned into a scarecrow. The son helps the farmer tie Eli on the crossbar, and once he is done, the farmer picks the longest nails and hammers them onto the limbs to keep them in place. Eli screams in pain, but it is muffled because of the stitches in his mouth. When the farmer moves to the other arm, Ash, who has been witnessing all of this, cannot sit there and watch her friend being tortured, and so she thinks of the best idea ever. She plans to attack the farmer using a screwdriver she is hiding behind her. So she screams to get their attention, asks them to stop, and slowly walks towards the farmer. Only then she attacks the farmer, but the farmer is too strong for her, so she turns to plan B, plead the farmer's son for help. But the son cannot do anything as he is scared of his father. The farmer headbutts Ash and knocks her out. After installing the crossbar with Eli crucified, they return for Ash, who is now tied to the torture chair. The farmer's son approaches a terrified Ash with a knife, and to her surprise, he sets her free. He explains that the freezing from the injection will wear off soon. He tells her that her friends are in the field, so all she can do now is save herself. He hands Ash a flashlight and tells her to leave the cornfield from where they came in and find the road. But before she can escape, the farmer catches his son helping Ash. The son takes out a knife and assertively tells his dad that he needs to put an end to this by letting Ash live. Now almost yelling, the son tells his dad that what happened back then to his mom was an accident. He looks at the corpse hanging on the roof, which was his mom. He implores his father to let Ash go and hands him the knife, apologizing to his mother. The farmer doesn't react as Ash makes her way out, but once she's gone, the farmer stabs his son in the neck with a knife, killing him instantly. Ash runs into the cornfield and comes across a scarecrow. Thinking it is Eli, she removes the sack off the face and screams, seeing Devon, who is already dead. Ash pulls a nail from Devon's body to defend herself and continues running. A few feet away, she comes across another scarecrow, but this time when she approaches it, thinking it is Eli, the scarecrow suddenly jumps her, making her run for her life. The farmer was somehow able to disguise himself as the scarecrow and teleport to the field ahead of Ash, and he soon catches up to her. Ash trips on a rock and falls, and as the farmer mounts her and makes her remove his mask, Ash uses the nail to impale his face and kicks him off of her. She kicks him repeatedly and then runs away, trying to find a way out, when she hears whimpering at a distance. She approaches yet another scarecrow and finds it is Farbsy, who is still alive but in bad shape. Ash starts removing the nails to get him down and soon finds a shovel. She tries using it, but before she can succeed, the farmer appears behind her and hits her on her head, making her bleed. He then starts strangling her but leaves after Farby manages to squeeze out an F-bomb on him. The farmer picks up the shovel and strikes Farbsy hard, knocking him unconscious and bleed profusely. When he turns, he finds Ash has escaped. The cornfield is a maze, and Ash soon gets lost in it, which makes it easy for the farmer to find her, as he is aware of every corner of this field. She runs until she falls unconscious. Ash wakes up and finds herself out of the field near the road. She sees a car parked right in front of her, and she tries to get up, but because she has hurt her leg, she can't walk. She screams for help, but the young couple in the car can't hear her as they have the music on full blast and are busy playing the skin flute. Ash drags herself and almost reaches the door handle when she gets dragged back to the field by the farmer, as she cries helplessly, knowing she will meet the same fate as her friends. We're then taken back to the first scene, where the farmer has finished installing the crossbar with Ash inside the sacks, and she suddenly opens her eyes and screams as she is eaten alive by the crows. She manages to ward off the crows by shaking her head vigorously, which makes the mask slip off her face. Her lips are also sewn shut, and she looks to either side, where the lifeless bodies of her friends hang, while she waits for her end, crying for help that will never arrive. Post-credits, we see a group of men arrive at the same spot in the hopes of fishing. Unbeknownst to the terror that awaits them, they trespass on the property.